Perfect. Hey, I'm Matt Hudgins. Oh, hey, I'm Matt Hudgins. He's Dave Mulvaney. This is Profitability MD. Dave, how you doing today, buddy?
And I'm doing fantastic. How are you?
Well, I've upgraded my surroundings. I don't have a fan going in the background today.
I see that.
I'd have a bay window going on.
I see that, but I do notice you are in a jacket. What little cool?
Oh my gosh, it's drizzly and 35 degrees outside.
What?
I've never been cold in my life. It's freezing up here.
Man, you're 6 hours from me, and it's I think it's like it's 80 degrees outside.
Holy smokes! It must be like the cold front line must be right between us. It's ridiculously cold, and it's supposed to rain 9 out of the next 10 days.
That's too bad. It's supposed to be sunny for our next 3 days. In fact, I've with everything in me. I mean, it's been rainy a little bit this week, but I am dying to go play some golf. But
you're killing me. You're killing me. I'm dying to go play golf.
Well, you'll probably get out before I do. That's the thing.
All right. Let's see. What should we talk about this week?
Well,
talk about my.
You have a client that is in the service business. Let's talk about, maybe we'll leave that a little bit vague, but they're in the service business. And what are you doing to get more revenue? This is
actually good. We had 2 little client incidences, and maybe I can bring the second one in here too because it's very similar. So he's in the service business. I won't tell you what type of service that he provides. Let's just call it a service business. I'm in the service business. You're in the service business. Service business provider. And then I go back to like our 5 main ways to grow a business, right? So you can increase the number of leads, which you talk about a lot. Increase conversions, meaning once I get in front of somebody, can I close them? Increase number of transactions. Can I get my existing clients to buy more often from me or buy something else from me? And then increase prices or really kind of bundling. And then we talk about increased profitability. So there's the 5 ways to grow a business. We talk about it all the time, 5-step process. This is a great example of step number 3, number of transactions. So he's got a service business. Actually, he and his wife run this business together, and they make a fine living, do a very nice job. And we got to talking, and over the last 3 months, he's come up with a product that he could sell to his existing clients. So it's really step number 3, and there's increase the number of transactions with existing clients. So his clients aren't going to do the same service with him more often, but they might buy this product that complements the service. So he started doing that, and I mean, in the first month we got $10,000 in sales. So it's about 90% profit margins on this product. So that's in the first month. And so what we're actually going to do, it's working so well that we were thinking, all right, so I got the service business he's got over here, and then let's add number 3, more transactions with existing clients. In this case, it's offering a new product to go to my same clients. And then we're talking about a 3rd option, which is turn that into an e-commerce site. Maybe we could sell that product to people that aren't even his service clients.
Very good.
So it's kind of interesting how it's no different than like a distributor. So I can go back to, I've had a plumbing distributor before. I got a lighting distributor now, as a matter of fact. You deal with lighting distributors all the time.
Sure.
I got a furniture guy who does distribution in furniture. And it's just like adding a new product line to your distribution, right? If you're a plumber distribution company and you sell all these valves, and now you've got, a new valve or a new tile, or now you sell toilets as well as just the valves, but you already have the end users.
So let's take, and I'm gonna take the as basic of a service business as possible, and let's talk about like lawn service. And this is a perfect example of And I'm not going to imply that people in lawn service are like any lower caliber or anything like that. That's not the implication here. But how many lawn guys or lawn people in the lawn business, they go out and they cut their customers' lawns day in and day out, and they never offer fertilizer. They never offer to plant bushes, this or that. They simply focus on lawns, and they just leave tens and tens of thousands of dollars on the table because they never bring in that next transaction that can dramatically grow revenue without increasing their amount of labor. Because in the lawn business, in the service business, let's say, if you're a one-man show or you're a 10-man show, the hardest thing is to get, if you have a, I do a lot of people in the electrical business. Well, if you've got 10 trucks on the road and those guys are busy, 8-9 hours a day, the only way to increase revenue is put another truck on the road or sell more products in those existing trucks. So, well, not the only way, but I mean, you've got to sell more products, and that's exactly what you're talking about. And too many people miss that step, I think. Selling to the existing clients, it's always easier to get water from the same well than to go and, tap a new well.
No, and you're exactly right. So it's funny, my lawn guy, who's excellent, by the way, and done a great job with us, exactly that, right? So we needed some more pine straw. So he came in and offered to lay down some pine straw, and of course, I'm paying him to lay down the pine straw. My wife wanted to switch out the flowers by the mailbox and by the front door. He's doing that too, right? And that's an extra fee, and I'm totally willing to pay. He's already here, saving me the time, the hassle of having to do it myself. Easy for him to do that. I would go one step further, and what I've done with some of my other contractors, I just renovated my house over here that I moved into, which is start talking about, are you planning on doing any other home renovation projects in the next 6 months to a year, right? And you could actually generate your own list, maybe even a checklist. And the idea being is that'd be an easy question for him to ask me. I call it a survey, and this is what I did with my contractors that were doing stuff on my house, which was, I call it what's working, what isn't working, and you're going to do any other projects, right? So what's working, tell me how good of a job we did. What isn't working, you don't phrase it that way. What can we do to improve our service? And leave a little space for that. And then the next question is, are you planning on doing any other home renovations in the next 6 to 12 months? And put a list, right? Am I going to do lawn service or landscaping, finish the basement, do the bathroom, do the kitchen, new hardwood floors, new carpets? The litany of lists that you can put on there, you can customize it, right? Electricians can do this. I think the HVAC guys should do this, right? I think electricians should do this. Again, I'm thinking retail, like you're in my house. You're the HVAC guy in my house. I think you should have a survey out at the end and then say you could do any other home repairs, home fixtures, right? And even if that HVAC guy doesn't do those things, or the lawn guy doesn't do those things, he could have a referral arrangement with somebody else who does. And not only that, are you getting a little referral arrangement, 10 to 15%, but then that guy that you referred the business to will probably refer business back to you, and you'd be happy to pay him 10 to 15%. Right?
Absolutely. It's exactly what I talked about on my blog today, is how many people miss the referring agent income possibility. And what that means is the more, like if I refer business to you, Matt, the more I refer to you, the more the law of reciprocation is going to come in. Where you're like, you know what, Dave sends me business all the time. I got to send some business Dave's way. And so it's sometimes the easiest way to get more business is just to refer your customers to some of your friends, because the reality is you carry a level of clout with your customers. And sometimes when you ask that question, hey, are you planning on doing something like this in the next 6 months? Like you bring up an HVAC contractor. Hey, I noticed, your electric panel is kind of rusty. Do you have any electrical work that you were planning on doing in the next six months? Or the lawn person who says, I noticed your sprinklers are kind of not working very well. Are you planning on getting that fixed? Oh yeah. Well, I've got this really good guy who does, sprinklers, and then he gets a referral fee because the guy comes out and fixes the sprinklers. Might have to do all new pipes, all the different things that can come up. But at the same time, there's always these 5-6 people that you can refer to on a regular basis. And when they're referring, when you got 5 or 6 people referring you, so I mean, it just keeping up with all the business can be complex.
That's exactly right. And I think you're exactly right. So many guys just keep kind of their head down and just doing what they do as opposed to looking for the other opportunities. And they miss that. I completely agree. Completely agree. They just kind of, hey, I just came in here, did my little show and walked out the door, and missed a total opportunity of not only to improve your own business by doing a survey, which I think most people won't do that either, but they also miss the opportunity of referral just by asking for it. But this is a better way of asking instead of, hey, any other people that can do an HVAC or any other lawn service people, which is fine to ask as well. But here we're actually side dooring the ask.
Let's expand on that a little bit, Matt. In your opinion, why do you think, and this is not a rarity, why do you think so many business owners don't ask those questions? What in your opinion is probably the reason they don't?
Well, it's really funny because I had this conversation. So, my other business is doing it's a financial services business. So, and financial services guys, a lot of them do not ask for referrals. Insurance guys do really good at asking for referrals. Financial services guys typically do not. And one of the reasons I think is fear, just outright fear. I'm afraid somebody's going to say no. I don't want to put them on the spot. So outright fear is, I think, the number one. But here's the other one. Here's the answer I get all the time, which is baloney. If I just really do a good job, they'll refer me the business. If I just do a good job, they'll refer me the business. And so that's their focus. I'm just going to do a good job. Now, in my mind, it's a default. You got to do a good job before anybody will send you business. So the assumption here is that you would do a good job. Otherwise, why are we in business? I don't want to
why are you in business?
Shady,
you're not
right?
going to do a good job anyway, right? So.
Yeah. So the default is you have to do a good job, but you've got to train your clients, your customers, how to send your referrals. Because on the opposite side of that, they do these surveys all the time, and we just did one in my firm back in December of, hey, would you give a referral? And of course, it's like 95% of people said yes, they would give referrals. And then, have you given referrals? And the answer would be no. And then, why haven't you given referrals? And the two reasons was nobody's asked me, and I don't know how to refer them. I haven't had the opportunity to refer. So that's a better way to say it. So nobody's asked me, and I haven't had the opportunity, which are kind of the same things, but they're different. So, and I don't know where I got this from. I don't know if this was one of the other gurus like a Dean Jackson or where this came from, but you have to teach your clients how to refer you, right? And what I mean by that is, if you hear this type of conversation, think of me. If you have this type of conversation, think of me. And that's really what we're doing here. If you go back to that little survey I said, and at the end say, I'm trying to jog their memory. Are you doing any other type of home renovations such as this, right? Such as this, and by listing those out, we're jogging their memory. Well, as a matter of fact, my wife wanted me to redo the deck or pressure wash the deck or pressure wash and paint it, right? But we sparked his interest by asking him specifically, are you going to redo your deck? You're going to redo your basement, right? Same thing about how you can ask for more. And by the way, so it's a lot easier to ask for referrals, not on yourself. Again, gets rid of the fear of I'm asking for a referral for myself and having them say no. But the other way to ask for yourself is, who else might benefit from this information is a great way to say that. Or you might hear this type conversation. Somebody talks about, in the financial services, somebody talks about they're paying too much in taxes. Well, if you hear somebody talking too much in taxes, we wrote a blog post. You're the king of the blog posts. Hey, if you hear somebody talking about paying, having trouble getting new clients, I wrote a blog post. Please send that on to them, and I'd love to connect with them. Hey, if you hear somebody talking about having people problems, we mentioned that was one of the excuses we were talking about on one of the podcasts that people say can't find good employees. Well, I wrote a good blog post on that. So you're teaching them, if you hear this conversation, I have this white paper, this article, this blog post, this podcast, please forward that on to them and or introduce me. So it's a lot it's a lot easier for somebody to refer you if they can say, oh yeah, you were talking about having people problems. Dave, I work with Dave. He's a great coach. And matter of fact, he wrote a blog post of this. Let me send that off to you. And you really should talk to Dave. That's a really easy for me to give you that introduction, right? Because I can't just say, hey, call Dave. I mean, I can, but that's kind of scary for them, me and them. The final thing I'll say about all this is we got to look at, why do people actually give referrals? And this was a great thing you never really thought about. So people don't give referrals to make you look good. They give referrals to make themselves look good. And what I mean by that is, I got a guy. Hey, you need some hardwoods? I got a guy. You need some electrical work? I got a guy. It makes me look good, that I'm connected. I know somebody.
As long as your guy's good.
Well, goes back to the default, right? It's got to be good. You got to do a good job in order for you to get any referrals. But my point is, I give the referrals, or we, not just me, we give referrals because it makes us feel good. We feel good helping a friend out. There's also a selfish. I look cool because I got a guy, right? So there's kind of two parts to that. I like helping you out, but I also feel good because I'm kind of cool that I have a guy.
All right,
and it has nothing to do with how good the service provider was.
Let's take that a step further. When you give that referral to your friend and they're like, no, I use so-and-so because they were less money, and then they end up with a crappy service, doesn't that make you feel good inside because they didn't take the referral? I mean, is that human nature? I mean, let's be honest. That's human nature. I have, or maybe it's just me. I feel that way when I give a referral, and they didn't want my guy because he was a little more than the other guy. So,
but that's the perfect price. I mean, that's where we talk about price versus value, and exactly right. And it's like it's a terrible, but I'll give it to you anyway. So it was hilarious. I remember when I first got married with my wife, years ago, and you don't want me doing the grocery shopping. I don't know what I'm doing. I get lost. I buy all kinds of crazy stuff. But I'm also kind of very frugal. I have a reputation of being very frugal in general. And so I come home with
that, by the way.
I'm sure you have. I come back with a generic cheese. So Kraft singles is what we've always had in our house, Kraft singles. And I come back with, Publix brand singles or Kroger singles. I can't remember which one. And she lost them. She's like, that's one thing that we spend money on is we're buying the name brand cheese singles. So she's really helped me teaching that the price versus value. There are some things that you spend money on and other things you can be frugal about.
See, the thing
and it's almost product to product.
My wife's the frugal one. I think it's good to have one in every family because my wife's the frugal one. But when we were early married, and these are the things early marriages run into, she brought home cheap toilet paper, and I made it.
That was going to be my second example.
That we don't go cheap on toilet paper.
I did the same thing to my wife. I came home with like the Costco brand of toilet paper. This is more recent than that. And we don't go cheap on it. This is our toilet. You're exactly right.
I will say this, and I mean, we're not ever, just a little disclaimer.
No, I don't.
We're not getting paid by Costco, but if they do want to pay us, I'm willing to accept it. Costco products are really good for the most part. Their branded products are very good products. So I've never tried their toilet paper, but I would bet it's a good product because I don't think they put their name on anything that's not a good brand. So. Right.
And that goes back to kind of price versus value. There are things that it's, to buy the generic brand versus the name brand. And it's how to balance that out. And especially when it's something like, you talk about your house or your business, I don't think you want to go cheap, right? No. I don't think you want to go cheap. You want to go with somebody who provides value, right? So that's the price versus value conversation. But you're exactly right. That's kind of funny.
Well, let's move back to the financial planning. People in the financial business. You said insurance agents are really good at giving referrals, and so what we boiled down as probably the number one reason is fear. So if I were to ask of somebody in that business, in most cases, I'd say, do you have $50 a week? And they would probably, can you spare $50 a week? And in most cases, they'd say yes. I would say, well, why don't you hire a virtual assistant to do those follow-up calls for you? You might be afraid to ask the questions, but are you afraid to have those questions asked of your clients? And I would almost guarantee, most of them would say no. And if you would pay somebody to do that, you might generate if you're paying 5 hours a week, you figure you're going to get 5 referrals at least each and every week. Why wouldn't you spend $50 on that, even giving them a little bonus for every deal you close? I mean, that's 20 leads a month. That is a lead source, and you might not need 5 hours a week. That's the beauty of services like Upwork, and you can find people in that $10, $15 an hour range who are really good at following what you have them to do. So, I think sometimes overcoming fear personally is not necessarily is getting to the root of, well, maybe it's not always fear. Maybe it's just, I want to spend my time doing this. I don't want to spend my time doing that. But it doesn't mean that time shouldn't be spent on that. It just means that perhaps your time shouldn't be spent on that.
So delegate. I love that. That's a great idea.
Delegate.
I know when I go, I took my car into the auto shop, for the little oil change or whatever. And they called me, I think it was a day or two later. Some other person called me. It wasn't my, service person. And that's exactly what they do. They have somebody at the front desk who must do the surveys. Hey, we're just calling to see how your service was. What do we do well? What can we do better? Any ideas for improvement? Exactly right. Delegating.
Even on new vehicles, normally inside of the warranty period, because I know corporate Lexus calls us, or, inside of the first 3 years we own a vehicle, they start calling you and say, how are you happy with your dealership, with the service? They care all the way down to the dealership. That comes from the top, corporate all the way down. So if companies like Lexus are doing that, it's not by accident. Now, undoubtedly, they're outsourcing it. Right. Delegation it's the key today. You can't, I don't believe you can, and when I say delegation or outsourcing can mean insourcing as well. But insourcing meaning the person works on your staff, for you, whereas outsourcing, they're technically not on staff. There's somebody you may be hiring that might be in Seattle, they might be in Montreal, and they might be in the Philippines. But it doesn't matter. It's a global world. Of course, the world is global, but there's no reason you can't hire the people you need to make you more effective, for sure.
That's a great point. That's exactly right.
So so you think fear is their number one thing. I figured it would be time, because I go back to the lawn guy, and he and I keep saying guy. If you're a lawn, I should say lawn person, right. But I'm not a big political correctness. I just speak whatever comes to mind, which hasn't always served me as well. But you go back to the lawn person, I think a lot of times they're just so busy doing that they never stop to plan and to look at their business and say, I need to be doing this, this, and this, and I can't do it all, so I need to have someone else outsource a portion of this so we can grow. Because with growth, you definitely have to have more staff to handle things, and that can be outsourced.
Well, you're exactly right. It's almost like what I would go. Let's use that the lawn service guy, and he doesn't have to do it. Like you said, we could just create a process that once a month he sends, or once a quarter he sends these surveys, or somebody sends the surveys via email to his clients. And maybe it's quarterly, maybe it's twice a year, maybe it's 3 times a year. How are we doing? What can we do better? And are you planning any home renovations, right? And then it's automated. And like you said, he's not the one asking for it because he's got somebody else asking it, right? Because a VA is going to send that email, right?
Yeah.
And then it can be automated. So he doesn't have to remember to hope, gosh, the homeowner's not even home right now when I'm doing the lawn. You could almost put a system or process in place that said, look, we're going to survey our clients or ask for referrals once a quarter. I've actually set up what I call a client communication system in one of my businesses over here. And it's literally that. It's kind of like information, ask for referral. Information, ask for referral. And the way we ask for referral is the gentle way, if you know somebody that would find this information valuable, please forward it on. If you hear somebody talking about this type topic, we've got a white paper, love to forward on. But we've systematized it for an entire year. I call that my client communication system. So now the clients are getting communicated on a regular basis. And for me, on my side, I'm asking for a referral on a regular basis.
And I think
and you systematize it.
So we live in a day and age where I think a lot of people miss what the depth of what is being said right now is that every business owner, every person is their own media channel, and that media that you put out has to solve problems or make somebody's life better. Granted, that's the media that's the message you want to get out. How can I make your life better, man? How can I solve a problem for you? And sometimes those are problems that I physically or my business does not solve. However, if you are able to convey to me, I have this problem and I know someone who can help you solve that problem, as a media channel, I can divert them to that person. Now think about a media channel. You can think of CBS or Fox or any of those. Do they get paid to divert business to other businesses? Of course they do. That's what advertising is, right? People pay millions of dollars to the NFL to have, I don't even know if we can say the NFL because it's protected, but we just did. They pay the NFL millions of dollars to have the NFL divert somebody's attention to their media channel. And that, that's ultimately everybody's a media channel today. And if you look at life like that and you look at your business like that, you start realizing, wow, I need to enhance my media channel. And that means you need better connections. And in the old days of networking are very different. You need to have good connections to protect your customer from the bad ones.
Right. It's funny you say that, because what that brings to mind is that networking is key, right? And so the more business you help refer to other people, the more you connect other people, the more things will come back from that reciprocity we talked about, right? Yeah. So there was a book here, some guy here in Atlanta wrote, I think he's commercial real estate, and I forget the name of it, but it was really catchy and it was really popular in the 1990s, maybe early 2000s. And this guy's goal was to connect as many people as he possibly could, because he figures all of those guys will eventually need office space. And so his business was networking, and he got paid by people doing real estate deals with him. So you could say, go back to your lawn care guy, and your business is doing your lawn care, yes, but now we got to get into this doing more transactions or providing other products or services for our existing clients. Can I network with my clients and provide other products or services with them? That's just going to come back and help me, because if I bring in the back porch guy and the pine straw guy and the power washer guy, they're all going to be looking for referral opportunities for me.
So, it's funny you say that, and some people get this. So I played golf at TPC Sawgrass not too long ago with the manager of Ruth Chris here in Ponte Vedra Beach. And this guy was a referral genius, and you wouldn't expect it. But I'm telling you,
okay.
Literally after the round, I must have got, I don't know, I'm going to say 7 or 8 emails that said, hey, Dave, I was thinking about you, and you mentioned this on the course, and I want to introduce you to, so-and-so. And he literally sent me somebody's name and email address, but he had already okayed it with the other person. And so he's creating this network. Now, where do you think I often go for hors d'oeuvres or dinner?
Or where are you taking that guy that you're meeting?
Yeah, so the point is, this guy gets it, and that's so it doesn't matter if you're a restaurant manager. It doesn't matter if you run a golf course, or if you're the CEO of a multi-billion-dollar corporation. Networking is about connecting people together for the advantage of the person you're connecting, not for your own advantage. But the law of reciprocity is real. That law has been out for many times. They surveyed, I believe it was, they did fundraisers, and they sent out these teenage kids, and they went door to door. And when the kids asked went to the door and tried to sell something, they had a specific, like 12% of the people purchased. However, when they offered something for free, their sales rates went through the roof, because the people felt obligated to then return the favor. And that's human nature. When somebody does something nice for you, for instance, you walk up to a door, and if somebody's holding the door, what's the words that come out of your mouth? I mean, thank you.
Right.
That's reciprocity. You feel obligated. What about when there's 2 sets of doors? You're going to naturally hold that next one, aren't you? That's reciprocity.
Right.
So I think reciprocity in business is a massive networking tool that people do not consider, but it's not done for bad motives. You do it, you give them the referral because it's good for them, and you do that enough times, people are going to naturally refer people to you.
Right. Exactly right. Well, look, we're probably right at our time, so let me summarize here. So it's funny, we started off talking about step number 3 in our 5-step formula, which was increasing the number of transactions from your existing clients. They may not buy your product, but they might buy somebody else's product or a different product. And then that took us right into networking and the value of networking and giving referrals and thinking about networking as an active campaign. We talked about that led us to referrals. Why do people give referrals? Why do people not give referrals? Why do people afraid to ask for referrals? There are ways around that. Like you said, we can automate it. We can outsource it. We can delegate it. You could be proactively looking for, like your Ruth Chris guy, actively asking for it, like we mentioned with the lawn care guy with the survey at the end. Even that can be automated. So all those things we mentioned today would lead to a lawn service guy making more money. Yeah. A service provider making more money, an electrical contractor making more money, right? He's going to get a referral fee, and he's going to get a referral back from the person that he referred. So I think a lot of these guys are overlooking. They're just doing their little thing and not focused on the big picture. And I think that's kind of the point of view that we bring. It's just a different perspective. You don't know what you don't know, or what you don't think about.
And you don't see the long-term impact, I think. That's often.
Yeah. That's perfect.
All right.
So tell us where we're going to find you. And you go first. Tell me where we're finding you, what you're doing.
You can find me at davidmulvaney.com. That's my blog. It's the easiest way to connect to me. And there's also typically a sign-up link there. I typically do a Thursday afternoon at 4 p.m. Eastern time. I do a live webinar, show you how to get more clients, mostly using LinkedIn. Matt, where can they find you?
Perfect. That's awesome. I'm 10xprofitblueprint.com, 10xprofitblueprint.com. And that's the easiest way to get in touch with me. And that's good. All right, man. Pleasure as always.
Enjoyed it, and we'll talk soon.
See ya.
Take care.